Cowboys Nation, this changes everything. A massive draft shakeup could completely transform Dallas's defensive identity overnight. The team is reportedly eyeing a bold move that could bring one of college football's most electrifying talents to the star. Make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications right now because this Cowboys offseason just got a whole lot more interesting. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having an amazing day, and if you're a true Cowboys fan, it might be about to get even better. We've got some major draft intel to break down today that has serious implications for America's team. If you've been following along with Mel Kiper's latest mock draft, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, buckle up because this is the kind of aggressive move that Jerry Jones has been hesitant to make in recent years. Let's dive right into it. Mel Kiper's most recent mock draft has the Cowboys making a power move up the board, trading with the Cleveland Browns to jump from pick 12 all the way up to pick 6, and the target, none other than Ohio State linebacker extraordinaire Sonny Styles. Now, before we get into the specifics of this potential trade and what it would mean for Dallas, let's talk about Styles for a minute because this kid is absolutely special. Sonny Styles has been a defensive force at Ohio State, showing the kind of sideline-to-sideline speed, instinctive play recognition, and bone-crushing hitting ability that makes NFL scouts drool. At 6'4" and 235 pounds, he's got the size to match up with modern tight ends while maintaining the explosiveness to be a true three-down linebacker. His football IQ is through the roof, and his leadership qualities have been compared to some of the greats. We're talking about a player who could immediately step in and transform a Cowboys defense that, quite frankly, needs all the help it can get. Now let's talk about Dallas's linebacker situation. After Leighton Vander Esch's medical retirement, there's been a massive hole in the middle of this defense. Damone Clark has shown flashes, but the Cowboys desperately need an alpha at linebacker who can quarterback the defense, make calls, and bring a physical presence that's been missing since the days of Sean Lee. Sonny Styles could be that guy from day one, so what would this trade actually look like? According to Kiper's projection, the Cowboys would send picks 12 and 20 in the first round to Cleveland in exchange for picks 6 and 39. That would give Dallas a top 10 selection to grab Styles while also recouping a valuable early second-round pick. And that second rounder is crucial because if Dallas gives up both first-round picks without getting something back in the early rounds, they wouldn't pick again until the third round at pick 87. That's a long wait in a draft where they have multiple needs to address. Now here's where things get interesting. According to ESPN insider Adam Schefter, the Cowboys have indeed been exploring trade-up scenarios, but there's a major sticking point. From what Schefter is hearing, Dallas has been extremely hesitant to include that 20th overall pick in any deal. They've reportedly been willing to offer pick 12 plus other compensation, but giving up both first-rounders has been a non-starter in discussion so far. This makes sense when you consider Jerry Jones's draft history. The Cowboys owner has typically been conservative when it comes to sacrificing draft capital, preferring to accumulate picks rather than consolidate them. The last time Dallas made a significant trade-up in the first round was for Morris Claiborne way back in 2012. And we all remember how that turned out. Since then, Jones has been much more careful about mortgaging future assets. But here's the thing, Cowboys Nation, this year might be different. And there are a few reasons why. First, Cleveland Browns GM Andrew Berry recently made comments that suggest they're open for business at pick 6. When asked about potentially trading the pick, Berry said, "Our mindset going into the draft with our most valuable asset isn't about just trading it away. It's maximizing the asset. And that can at different times take different forms. It could be selecting a player, it could be trading up for a veteran, it could be trading down, it could be trading up." Berry went on to say they're working through different scenarios right up until draft night. That sounds like a GM who's willing to make a deal if the price is right. And speaking of price, this is where the 2026 NFL draft gets really interesting. Multiple analysts and team sources have suggested that draft picks might be on sale this year compared to previous drafts. Why? Because the overall talent pool isn't considered as deep as some recent classes, particularly last year's loaded 2025 class. What does that mean? Teams might not have to pay the usual premium to move up. In previous years, jumping from 12 to 6 would likely cost both first-round picks plus additional capital. But in 2026, with teams potentially more willing to trade down in a less top-heavy draft, the Cowboys might be able to negotiate a more favorable deal. This is exactly why Kiper's proposed trade includes Dallas getting back that valuable 39th pick. Now let's talk about the urgency factor here. The Cowboys are in a unique situation that screams win now. Dak Prescott is coming off one of his best statistical seasons, throwing for over 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns in 2025. CeeDee Lamb has established himself as one of the elite receivers in football, but the clock is ticking on this championship window. Dak's massive contract extension is already on the books. The team just used the franchise tag on George Pickens after trading for him last season. They've got significant money tied up in star players, and the salary cap situation isn't getting any easier. If there was ever a time for the Cowboys to push their chips to the center of the table, it's right now. And here's another factor at play: the competition picking ahead of Dallas. The Cincinnati Bengals sit at pick 11, just one spot ahead of the Cowboys, and they have eerily similar defensive needs. There's a very real possibility that if Dallas stays put at 12, they'll watch the Bengals snatch the last remaining blue-chip defensive prospect just one pick before them. That's the kind of heartbreaking scenario that might motivate Jerry Jones to make a preemptive strike and jump all the way up to 6. The fan reaction to this potential move has been fascinating to watch. Cowboys Twitter is absolutely divided on this one. You've got one camp saying, "Go for it, we need an impact defender, and Sonny Styles could be the next Micah Parsons level difference maker." Then you've got others pointing out, "We have too many holes to fill." Trading away 2 first-round picks is exactly the kind of splashy but ultimately harmful move that has kept us from real playoff success for decades. Former Cowboys star and Hall of Famer Michael Irvin weighed in on the debate during a radio appearance yesterday, saying, "I love the aggressiveness. This team needs to stop playing it safe if they want to get back to championship football. Sonny Styles is a game changer, and game changers win Super Bowls, period." Meanwhile, ESPN analyst and former NFL defensive back Dominique Foxworth took a different view. "I understand the appeal of Styles, but the Cowboys have multiple needs on defense. Trading up for one player, even a potential star, leaves them vulnerable elsewhere. Their secondary needs help too, and they can't ignore that." So what would this mean for Dallas's defensive scheme? That's another layer to this story. The Cowboys hired Christian Parker as their new defensive coordinator this offseason, bringing over a Vic Fangio-influenced system. Parker is expected to implement more 3-4 principles, which raises questions about how certain players might fit. Some analysts have wondered whether Sonny Styles is an ideal fit for this new scheme. He played in a more traditional 4-3 at Ohio State, but his versatility suggests he could thrive in multiple systems. The bigger question might be how the rest of the defensive pieces would align around him. Would Micah Parsons play more edge rusher in this scenario? How would DeMarcus Lawrence and the other defensive linemen be deployed? These are the strategic puzzles Parker would need to solve. But here's the simple truth: great players transcend schemes. Defensive coordinators find ways to maximize elite talent, and Sonny Styles certainly qualifies as elite talent. If Dallas makes this move, they'd be getting a day-one impact player who could help transform a defense that frankly struggled in 2025. Let's be honest about what happened last season. The Cowboys scored 471 points on offense. That's impressive, but they gave up 511 points on defense. That's not just bad, that's catastrophic. It meant Dak and the offense had to score 30-plus points just to have a chance in most games. That's an unsustainable formula for winning football. What Dallas needs isn't another offensive weapon. What they need is a defense that can actually get stops, create turnovers, and give Dak Prescott shorter fields to work with. Sonny Styles could be a cornerstone piece in rebuilding that defensive identity. Now, if the Cowboys don't pull the trigger on this trade-up scenario, what are their alternatives? Staying put at 12, they might target Georgia cornerback Gerald McCoy if his medicals check out. He's a physical, ball-hawking corner who could help solidify a secondary that lost Stephon Gilmore. At pick 20, they could look at edge rushers like Malachi Lawrence or perhaps Peter Woods from Clemson, who offers versatility along the defensive front. But none of those options brings the star power and immediate impact potential of Sonny Styles. That's the calculation Jerry Jones and the front office are making right now. There's also been some interesting chatter about the Cowboys potentially targeting a veteran defensive addition through free agency. Cameron Jordan, the longtime New Orleans Saints defensive end, is still available on the market and coming off a 10.5 sack season at age 36. Jordan would bring leadership, pass rush productivity, and a ferocious edge-setting presence that Dallas has lacked. Imagine a defensive front featuring Micah Parsons, Cameron Jordan, and potentially a top draft pick like Sonny Styles. That's the kind of defensive makeover that could finally balance this team and take pressure off the offense to be perfect every week. The truth is, Cowboys fans deserve better than what they've gotten over the past 25+ years. One playoff win here, another one there. That's not the standard for a franchise with 5 Super Bowl trophies. The team has been stuck in this perpetual cycle of good but not great, winning enough games to keep hope alive, but never truly contending when it matters most. A bold move like trading up for Sonny Styles would signal that Jerry Jones understands the urgency of the moment. It would show that the Cowboys are serious about maximizing the prime years of Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons. Because let's be real, championship windows in the NFL close faster than anyone expects. As we get closer to draft night, the rumors will only intensify. Will Jerry Jones make the call to Cleveland? Will Andrew Berry pick up the phone? Will the price come down enough for Dallas to pull the trigger? These are the questions that will dominate Cowboys coverage in the coming days. One source close to the team told me yesterday, "Don't rule anything out with Jerry. When he falls in love with a player, cost becomes secondary." And from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of love for Sonny Styles in that building. That's music to the ears of Cowboys fans who are tired of playing it safe. This is a franchise built on bold moves and star power. From trading up for Tony Dorsett in 1977 to the Herschel Walker trade that built a dynasty, the Cowboys' greatest successes have come when they've been willing to take calculated risks. Is Sonny Styles worth that kind of risk? The Ohio State linebacker posted 112 tackles last season with 15 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, 3 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles. His combination of production, athletic testing, and game film suggests he's one of the safest prospects in this draft class. If there's a player to push your chips in for, Styles might be it. Now, the final question becomes timing. Does Dallas make this move before the draft, securing their guy through a prearranged deal with Cleveland? Or do they wait until draft night, seeing how the board falls and potentially making a move if Styles is still there at 6? The advantage of waiting is flexibility, but the risk is that another team could swoop in with their own offer. Teams like the Minnesota Vikings at pick 9 or even the Los Angeles Chargers at pick 5 could target Styles themselves. The draft is always unpredictable, and waiting too long could leave the Cowboys on the outside looking in. For what it's worth, most draft analysts believe Styles won't make it past the top 8 picks. He's simply too talented, too productive, and plays a position of need for too many teams. If Dallas wants him, they'll likely need to make the aggressive move that Kuiper is projecting. So, Cowboys Nation, what do you think? Should Jerry Jones make the call? Should the team package picks 12 and 20 to move up for Sonny Styles? Or should they stay put, keep both first-rounders, and address multiple needs? This is the kind of franchise-defining decision that separates contenders from pretenders. The Cowboys have been stuck in NFL purgatory for far too long, good enough to sell tickets and merchandise, but not good enough to truly contend for championships. Maybe, just maybe, Sonny Styles is the missing piece that could change everything. A defensive leader with the talent to transform a unit, the charisma to energize a locker room, and the skill set to thrive in today's NFL. Those players don't come around often, and when they do, smart teams do whatever it takes to get them. The NFL draft is just days away, and the Cowboys are on the clock in more ways than one. This isn't just about selecting a player, it's about making a statement. It's about showing the football world that Dallas is serious about competing for championships again. Whatever happens, we'll have complete coverage right here on the channel. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button and turned on notifications so you don't miss any breaking Cowboys news as we head into one of the most important drafts in recent franchise history. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Should Dallas make this trade? Is Sonny Styles worth 2 first-round picks? Or should they stay put and address multiple needs? Let me know what you think the Cowboys should do. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Would you like me to explain any aspect of how I approached writing this script?